Marine Barracks, Washington, D.C. is located at the corner of 8th and I Streets, southeast in Washington, D.C. Established in 1801, it is a National Historic Landmark, the oldest post in the United States Marine Corps, the official residence of the Commandant of the Marine Corps since 1806, and main ceremonial grounds of the Corps. It is also home to the Commandant's own Marine Drum and Amp, Bugle Corps, and the President's own U.S. Marine Band. Barracks Marines conduct ceremonial missions in and around the national capital region as well as abroad. They also provide security at designated locations around Washington, D.C. as necessary, carry out the distance education and training program of the Marine Corps through the Marine Corps Institute, and barracks officers are part of the White House Social Aid Program. Marine Barracks, Washington, and the historic home of the Commandants were listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1972. A 6-acre property with 8 contributing buildings was included in the listing. It was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1976. History. The buildings at the Marine Barracks are some of the oldest in Washington. In 1801, President Thomas Jefferson and Commandant Lt.Col. William Wood Burroughs rode horses about the new capital to find a place suitable for the Marines. Near the Washington Navy Yard, they chose a location within marching distance of both the Navy Yard and the Capitol and hired architect George Hadfield to design the barracks and the Commandant's house. When the British burned Washington during the War of 1812, they also captured the Marine Barracks. It is traditionally held within the Marine Corps that, out of respect for the brave showing of the Marines at Bladensburg, the British refrained from burning the barracks and the Commandant's house. Though neither Admiral Cockburn nor General Ross mentioned the Marines specifically in their conversation with the wounded Commodore Barney, it is now widely acknowledged that the compliment extends towards both Barney's flotilla men and the 103 Marines present. This was simply due to the fact that Miller's Marines had brought heavier field guns and small arms to act as the core of Barney's line. There is little doubt that Barney's sailors would have held their ground had it not been for the cannons dispensing grape and canister volley after volley into the 85th Light Foot wrecked. This is supported by the fact that Baltimore artillery on the Marines' right flank was only firing round shot in an attempt to stop Thornton from crossing the bridge. Round shot in general is very ineffective against dispersed troops such as the light infantry of the 85th. This account of events still survives. The people of the flotilla, under the orders of Captain Barney and the Marines, were justly applauded for their excellent conduct on this occasion. No troops could have stood better, and the fire of both artillery and musketry has been described as to the last degree severe. Captain Barney himself, and Captain Miller, of the Marine Corps in particular, gained much additional reputation, and their conspicuous gallantry caused a deep and general regret that their efforts could not have been sustained by the rest of the army. The last stand of the sailors and Marines is to this day immortalized by Charles Waterhouse's painting of Captain Miller's Marines manning 2 of the 3 12-pound Gribuval-type cannons. The 3 guns themselves were hauled from the Marine Barracks onto the battlefield to cover a strategic bridgehead. This event has also been marked by a sculptor Joanna Blake of Cottage City in her Undaunted in Battle. Quote, "It shows a wounded Barney being helped by a Marine and flanked by a sailor presumably representing a member of the flotilla. The background shows a wheeled cannon, likely one of the 3 hauled to the battlefield by the Marines, ones that proved so decisive in holding off the British even if for a brief moment. Square 927. Now the block surrounded by 8th and Amp I and 9th and Amp G Streets S.E. was entered in the National Register of Historic Places in 1972, and was then designated a National Historic Landmark by the Department of the Interior in 1976. 8th and I has been the home of the Silent Drill Platoon and the Marine Band since the Barracks establishment in 1801 and the residence of the Commandant since 1806, when the Commandant's house was completed. The Commandant's house is the only original building left in the complex, the remainder having been rebuilt in 1900 and 1907. The Marine Corps Institute moved to the barracks from its previous home at Marine Barracks, Quantico in 1920. The Drum and Bugle Corps has been based at the barracks since its formation in 1934. The barracks complex is one of the oldest government buildings in continuous use in Washington, D.C., though some sources conflict on whether the White House is a year older. While traditionally known as the oldest post in the Corps, Marines did serve at the Charlestown Navy Yard in Boston a year earlier, though they did not have a permanent detachment until 1805 nor a barracks until 1810, and it was vacated in 1974. The Tun Tavern is considered the birthplace of the Corps, having been used for one of the first Continental Marines recruiting drives in 1775, though it is disputed if it occurred before one at Samuel Nicholas's family tavern, the Conestoga Wagon. Duties: funeral escort for Marines and dignitaries, ceremonial honor guard for state functions, security forces for Camp David and the White House Communications Agency, parades, Friday evening parade, Tuesday sunset parade at the Iwo Jima Memorial, provided military correspondence courses for Marines and other services through Lieutenant Marine Corps Institute, officially deactivated the 1st of October 2015. Training to maintain MOS proficiency and emergency preparedness. The Marines assigned to the D.C. barracks must meet strict height, weight, and background check standards, since they perform in ceremonial parades, funerals, and other ceremonies for presidential and other national dignitaries. During the summer months, a sunset parade is held every Tuesday evening at the Marine Corps War Memorial in Rosslyn, Virginia near Arlington National Cemetery. In addition, an evening parade takes place at the barracks every Friday evening from late spring until the end of summer.